My name is David Trotter, and I'm the founder of the Rise Up Business Academy and the host of the Inspiration Rising podcast. And it's an honor for me to be with you. If you haven't already, in the comments, go ahead and introduce yourself, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm here in Southern California, and this is our second week for SULARISE. And this is a sacred space for us to prepare our hearts for the week ahead. And no matter if you're a coach, an entrepreneur, or a leader in your workplace, you know that you can't give what you don't already have. And so that's why I've set aside this 30 minutes every Sunday morning to help you be filled up so that you're ready to pour out into the lives of your customers and clients and coworkers and the people that you're connected with. And so that's what SULARISE is all about. And so, good morning, Dale. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Kim. Good to see all of you guys. I know Dale, she's in Southern California. Jackie's in Portland. Kim's in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So no matter where you're watching from, encourage you just to say hello, introduce yourself, and we'll be connected here. All right. And one of my desires as well is that you guys would be connected. So you guys are welcome to chat with each other in the comments and encourage one another, that this would be an encouraging space for all of us. Well, this is the beginning of a 3-week series called Embracing Again. And as you obviously are well aware, we are in the midst of this pandemic, and some of us are, it's depending on the country or state where we live, it's decreasing in terms of the requirements of staying apart from one another or masks and so forth. But what I'm realizing is that over the course of the last year, we have been disconnected in large part. Haven't been able to travel to other parts of the world. Maybe you've been in close proximity to just a group of people around you or people in your local area. But as we start to have things opening back up again, you're going to be in contact with a lot more people. And so I'm realizing that it would be thoughtful, it would be helpful for us to talk about what it would look like to reconnect to ourselves, reconnect to other people, and reconnect to the world at large. And so that's what we're going to be doing over the next 3 weeks together. So I've asked my friend Jackie from Portland to read an excerpt from Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. So I want to encourage you to listen to this very closely. I'll be referring back to some of these words and some of these sentences in just a moment, but just listen to these words, even if you want to just close your eyes and just take it in, but listen very closely to this excerpt from Daring Greatly.
Her book, Daring Greatly, Brene Brown writes, "Vulnerability is not weakness, and the uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure we face every day are not optional. Our only choice is a question of engagement. Our willingness to own and engage with our vulnerability determines the depth of our courage and the clarity of our purpose. The level to which we protect ourselves from being vulnerable is a measure of our fear and disconnection. When we spend our lives waiting until we're perfect or bulletproof before we walk into the arena, we ultimately sacrifice relationships and opportunities that may not be recoverable. We squander our precious time, and we turn our backs on our gifts, those unique contributions that only we can make. Perfect and bulletproof are seductive, but they don't exist in human experience. We must walk into the arena, whatever it may be, a new relationship, an important meeting, our creative process, or a difficult family conversation, with courage and the willingness to engage. Rather than sitting on the sidelines and hurling advice, we must dare to show up and let ourselves be seen. This is vulnerability, and this is daring greatly."
Thank you, Jackie. Now, this past week, I walked into a grocery store for the very first time in over a year without a mask. Yeah, without a mask. I know. I walked in and I felt completely naked, you guys. I felt so awkward. I mean, I'm vaccinated. Our governor had lifted the mask mandate this past week, which is probably, I don't know, one of the last states in the United States to have that happen. And all of a sudden, you could walk in and I felt naked. Now, as I walked into the grocery store, I saw lots of other people that were still wearing masks. And please know, this is not a statement. This is not a talk about masks or about whether you should or shouldn't wear masks. I'm just sharing my own experience and some of the realizations and some of the wisdoms that I started to download as a part of that. And so I walk in and I'm seeing these people wear masks, and then I see one woman without a mask. And frankly, it was like, I know this sounds weird. It was like seeing her topless almost. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can see her face. This is so weird. Should I be looking at her face? Wow, I feel like I'm staring into her soul, you know? I wanted to run up to her and be like, I see your face. Do you see my face? We both have faces. Oh, you know? But I didn't do that. I played it cool. And I just kind of did the, what's up? What's up? You know, the head nod, you know, like I see you, you know, you don't have a mask on. So now I will tell you, when I'm in a grocery store, generally I'm a bit more of the slightly introverted, get in and get out kind of person. All right. Over the last year with a mask on, I have found myself when I walk up to the checkout person, I will generally just answer their questions before they ask me. I'll just go, no bag, no receipt. And they'll be like, excuse me, no bag, no receipt. Like I'm like, get to the chase, just get through, get there. And now I'm realizing I don't have a mask on. I think I might have to talk to this person. Okay. Now, I was in a grocery store here in the United States called Trader Joe's. And if you know this store, all of the people at the checkout they're trained to talk to you. Okay. When you check out. Not just like, do you want a bag? Do you want a receipt? No. They're like, how's your day? What do you have planned to do today? I like your blouse. Okay. In the comments, tell me, do you like this? Are you like a pro talker in the checkout, or like, nah, I'll pass? Okay, let me know in the comments because I want to see from you. I'm the person who's like, why are they talking to me? My wife and I'll go to Trader Joe's and she's like, da, 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 da. Right? My wife's all a text for her to talk. I'm like, oh, geez, can we just get through this? No bag, no receipt. Now I'm walking up and I'm realizing I have no mask on. I have no excuse to hide behind a mask. I might have to talk to this person now more. And you know what? I might need to smile. Oh, I should probably smile. Have I smiled at anyone in the last year in public? I started thinking to myself, I'm not even sure I've smiled at anybody because I've been behind a mask. My wife tells me, you better smile, Dave. Okay, because other people might have what they call a resting B face. I have what's called a resting K face. She's like, you look like a killer. Okay, resting killer face. I'm like, okay, smile more. I don't mean to look like I'm going to kill someone. I'm thinking like I'm in my head. Okay. All right. So Susan says, nope, doesn't want to talk. Dale says, yep, I like, she yaks. Jackie says, I like it and think it's cool to have people engage with her. Okay. See, Jackie, you are the reason why Trader Joe's is doing this. Me, I'm a little more the introverted, like, okay. So anyway, I get through the experience. I'm like, yes, I'm working. Thanks. I'm glad you like my blouse. You know, I get through. I walk out of the store and I start to have these realizations that come that over the last year, my mask has been preventing more than a virus from being transmitted. I start to realize that the mask had almost been like a psychological shield to protect me, or I have used it that way to protect me from having to engage with other people that I might not want to talk with, that I could remain hidden behind, that I could not have to smile, that I could just be to myself a little bit more. And that, wow, this mask is kind of like protecting me from vulnerabilities, from feeling vulnerable out in public. The mask had almost become like this shield. Now, as you guys know, with the pandemic, I mean, we have faced so many vulnerabilities, that sense of feeling vulnerable out in public. At the height of the pandemic, at least here in the United States, I would go out in the beginning and I'd be like, those people are scary. They're scary people. They might have they might have the COVID, they might have the C word, right? And they might give it to me, and that means I might die. Okay, you could possibly kill me. Stay away, right? And that doesn't go away just overnight. I don't mean the pandemic stuff. I'm talking about that feeling of seeing others as possibly scary or dangerous, or right, stay away from, because that leaves a little bit of a residue on our hearts. And I'm wondering, and maybe it's just me because I'm a little more introverted and a little more into myself when I'm out in public, if the mask became like this psychological shield that allowed me to protect my heart and think, I'm dealing with so many vulnerabilities in my life right now that I don't need one more vulnerability of having to deal with people that might make me feel awkward. I mean, at the height of the pandemic, we're running around the United States buying toilet paper like it's like gonna run out because we're feeling vulnerable. So the vulnerability made us not want to, we didn't want to be caught with our pants down without having something to wipe with, right? We wanted that toilet paper because we didn't want to feel vulnerable. So all these vulnerabilities, and I'm going, I wonder if for some of us, the mask had been a way of protecting us from one more vulnerability. Now, in that first sentence, Brene Brown describes vulnerability as this: uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. She describes vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. It's when we feel outside of our comfort zone. It's when we feel like we're, dealing with things that might make us feel a little unfamiliar territory. That's when we can feel vulnerable. And I don't know about for you, but for me, I'm realizing, wow, it feels great to take the mask off. I feel this freedom. I feel this, oh, I can breathe. But at the same time, I'm realizing, wow, I wonder if this has been almost like a way for me to armor up, for me to have a psychological shield to prevent me from having to deal with things that feel uncomfortable, right? Talking to other people. It's a way for me to kind of numb out a little bit. It's a way for me to depersonalize myself. Like, you don't really know who I am, right? You don't know who I am now. No, now you do. Now you don't. Now you do. Now you don't, right? Depersonalizes us. It depersonalizes the people around me. Now they're just like a body with like this black mask or some mask on. It depersonalizes. And so what's crazy is when I kind of shield myself from those encounters that could feel a little vulnerable, it also causes me to shield myself from encounters that are life-giving and heartfelt and beautiful. Those moments when I smile at the baby when I'm in line and the baby smiles back, and it makes me feel good, and it makes the baby feel good. Those moments of chit-chat where it's just natural to kind of have an interplay over something in someone's cart or about someone's blouse or whatever it might be. Those little exchanges go beyond mere surface level talk, but they make us feel better about ourselves, and they create a sense of community, even in just a small way, with those people around us. And so when I mask up, armor up, shield up, I'm protecting my heart from things that might feel vulnerable, but I'm also preventing myself from possibly having a heartfelt, engaging conversation, a heartfelt, engaging encounter. The first sentence that Jackie read from Brene said, vulnerability is not weakness, and the uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure we face every day are not optional. Our only choice is a question of engagement. How will we deal with those vulnerabilities? Will we remain soft, ready to encounter people, still having an appropriate protectedness, right? Or will we be shielding ourselves? Now, you don't have to wear a mask to be shielding yourself. You realize that, right? That the mask is just something that maybe for me, it's become like this symbol of like, oh, interesting. I'm using this to not have to engage with people in a vulnerable way. But we can do that with our hearts, even if we're wearing a mask or not. We can be protecting ourselves from other people that are scary or might cause us to feel awkward, or, right? People that are different than us. We protect ourselves. And so when we protect ourselves, in that way that's shielding other people off, Brene writes, we ultimately sacrifice relationships and opportunities that may not be recoverable. We sacrifice relationships and opportunities that may not be recoverable when we choose not to be vulnerable. You guys, I don't like to be vulnerable. That's what it felt like when I had that mask off in the grocery store last week. I'm like, oh man, I feel vulnerable. Like you could see my face. You know who I am. You look into my soul at somebody. Like I feel vulnerable. I'd rather be safe behind a shield and kind of more in my head, thinking about my thoughts, just thinking about things, right? Probably with the resting K face. Like, let's just be honest. I'd rather feel that sense of safety in my brain thinking about things, and yet my heart, what does my heart desire? I'm realizing that it desires connection, it desires community, joy, love, empathy. That's what my heart desires. And in order for it to feel those things, I have to be willing to be vulnerable. Now, this past week for my SOLARISE 7, right? That's the one thing for 7 days that we are doing. Like you get to choose your one thing for 7 days. I did a meditation for 15 minutes a day. All right. If you want this worksheet, you can download it. The link is in the description of this video. It's insporising.com/solarise7. And I did 15 minutes of meditation every day. And I want to encourage you, if you were not with us last week and you didn't hear what SOLARISE 7 is all about, 2 ways you can learn about that. One is listen to the podcast that comes out on Monday on Inspiration Rising. I talk all about it. Or you can watch last week's video, the very first SOLARISE, where we talk about SOLARISE 7 and doing one thing. So I am meditating. I did that this past week for 15 minutes, something I don't normally do. The reason why we're doing that is to help our soul arise and be refreshed. And you can choose whatever you want to do. So as I'm doing that, as I'm meditating, I'm not some expert meditator. I've learned a few things from my friend Dr. Beta, and I sat there and I just began to breathe, paying close attention to my breath. Any of you meditate? If you do, tell me in the comments. Like I want to know how many of you meditate or are experienced in that. I know Dale, she's a big meditator. So I'm sitting there and I'm meditating and I'm concentrating on my breath, and I feel my shoulders, right? Because I'm a little intense guy, and my shoulders start to go down, 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 down. Yeah. And then I could feel my heart and my being just soften a little bit. I just started to soften up. And then I started to feel a little vulnerable with myself. I know that sounds weird, but I started to feel a little vulnerable. I started to have these thoughts about things that I'm fearful of right now in my life, things that I'm anxious about, ways that I'm comparing myself, times in which I'm feeling nervous or not good enough at certain things that I'm doing. And I just started telling myself, David, you're okay. You're safe. You're loved. You're okay. You're safe. You're loved. Right? And so I'm having this moment where I'm feeling this vulnerability, and it felt weird. It felt good, but it also felt healing in some way. I was embracing myself again. I was embracing myself. Why? Because I was being kind. I was being compassionate. Now, we talked about what does it look like to be vulnerable out in public or with, like with other people or friends or family. And it can feel like, oh, these are scary. Like this person might hurt me, not physically, but emotionally, right? They might say something that would be harmful or not helpful or whatever it might be. And we thought, oh, that's out there is where we can feel vulnerable. But in reality, where one of the most unsafe places in the world is? Where is one of the most unsafe places in the world? Don't say North Korea. Okay, all right, we know that's true. It's inside my own head. Inside my own head is potentially one of the most unsafe places in the world. Why? Because I can be judgmental. I can be critical. I can be shaming or belittling to myself. Yeah. So, in this process of reconnecting, I believe that it is healthy for us to think about what does it look like for us to reconnect with ourselves in being honest about what's going on up here so that we can be vulnerable with our heart down here. Yeah, and that's what started to happen to me during this time of meditation. I intentionally chose to kind of drop that mask, drop that armor, and feel this softness, feel this sense of vulnerability, and be kind to myself, right? To be kind to myself, to be compassionate toward myself, and to say, Dave, I know that is hard. It's okay. You're not alone. You're safe, and you're loved. Yeah. And with that vulnerability with myself, all of a sudden, you know what I started feeling? I started feeling better. I started feeling softer. I started feeling more confident. I started feeling the sense of willingness to be vulnerable with others because I had started to become vulnerable with myself, caring, compassionate, not just living up here with my thoughts, not just thinking about all that's going on in my life, but let's just take a minute. Be vulnerable with myself. That sounds a little weird to say, right? Being vulnerable with yourself, but it takes some courage because of what can go on up here, being judgmental about all the things that we would say about ourselves. We go, whoa, wait, hold off on the judgment there. Let's just be vulnerable and caring and kind because Brene says that vulnerability is the core, the heart, the center of meaningful human experience. Vulnerability is the core, the heart, the center of meaningful human experience. And I believe I'm a slow learner, that is not only true about my relationship with you and other human beings, but it's true about my relationship with myself. That if I want to really reconnect with myself, and embrace myself again, I must be willing to be vulnerable with myself. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what began to happen in this time of meditation. I began to sit with some of those scary things and just be kind to myself, compassionate with myself, and care for myself. And in the process, I found myself feeling like I was embracing myself again. Now, what's the benefit of this? Because I'm always going, well, what's the benefit? What is the real benefit of this? Is this just about feeling better? Well, when I feel better about myself, when I'm caring for myself, am I more likely to care for you as well or less likely? Well, I'm more likely because I already feel filled up. I feel like I've been poured into. I don't feel empty. I don't feel like I'm having that empty cup, right? That empty cup, just you're trying to get this, right? Trying to pour something out of it. No, I'm now filled up. Why? Because I've embraced myself again, because I've been vulnerable with myself, and because now I'm filled up and I'm ready to pour into my clients, my customers, my coworkers, my family, my friends. That's the benefit. And now you actually start being more productive in your life because you're filled up. You've been vulnerable with yourself. You've cared for yourself. You've been courageous to really love yourself and remind yourself that you're safe and loved. And now you're filled up and ready to pour into the other people around you. So this week, I want to encourage you to think about this Solarize 7 again. Here's this worksheet looks like. It's up on the screen. You can download it at insporising.com/solarize7 or the links in your the caption of this video. And you can download this worksheet and choose what is that one thing that you're going to do every day for 7 days in order to help your soul arise and be refreshed? What would it look like for you to do one thing every day this week to be vulnerable with yourself and care for yourself? Maybe being vulnerable for you would be to list 10 things that you like about yourself every single day. 10 things. Maybe it could be a gratitude list of things that you're thankful for about yourself. Maybe it's meditating, just like I did, and being vulnerable with yourself during those few minutes that you meditate. Maybe it's just sitting in front of the mirror and literally just embracing yourself like this and feeling your skin and just saying you're okay, you're loved, and just feeling yourself there in that moment and embracing yourself again. Maybe that's what it looks like. Yeah, I don't know. But for you, I really want to encourage you to get the worksheet, download, print it out, and then tell us. Tell us in the group, Soul Inspired Coaches and Entrepreneurs. Tell us online, hashtag Solarise7, and tell us what you're going to do. This week, I want to tell you what I'm going to do again. I'm going to print out another one of these, and I'm going to do 15 more minutes of meditation every single day. And for me, I'm feeling like, okay, that is the thing I'm going to do this next week that's going to help me, help my soul arise and be refreshed. Yeah. Okay, so one thing I want to do at the end of our time together every Sunday morning is I want to give you a blessing. All right, I want to give you a blessing for the week. And we talked about last week that your work and whatever you do is not just moving information from your mind into somebody else's mind, whether you are have clients or customers or coworkers or family or friends. You're not just talking and moving information, but you're participating in a movement of the heart, because you have the power to move hearts. And people are not just moved by information, they're moved when their heart is moved, right? So I want what we do here to be a movement of the heart. And so if you want to put your hands over your heart, just like this, as a way to receive this blessing, I want to invite you to do that. You're welcome to close your eyes. Well, this week, may you have the courage to be vulnerable with yourself. May you have the courage to drop that mask, to drop that shield, to be willing to be honest about the things that you're thinking and feeling in this world, to be honest with yourself. And as you're honest with all the things that are going on inside of you, to just be okay with it, to tell yourself, Dave, you're okay. You're not alone. You're loved. You're safe. And in that moment of vulnerability, may you be kind and compassionate with yourself, knowing that that's what our world needs, that our world doesn't need you to be armored up, but our world needs you to be vulnerable, to be ready to connect with those that are around you. And so this week, may you experience the blessing of vulnerability, the blessing of the smile, the blessing of the connection, the blessing of the empathy. May you experience the blessing of vulnerability in your home, in your workplace, in your business. And may you know that you are okay, you are safe, and you are loved. You want to go ahead and open your eyes. Yeah. It's wonderful to be with you. I want to invite you to invite other people to join us next Sunday. I'll be back here again at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Of course, you can watch it, but it's fun to be able to connect with one another live. Encourage you to connect with some other people in the comments. Even after we're done with the live, you can go back and encourage one another and reply to each other's comments. But invite a friend. Invite a friend, that they would have this space be a space where their heart could be prepared for the next week as well. Love you guys. Go in God's grace. Have a great week.